Let's talk about burnout. Burnout is a subject that loads of people brush over in our generation, but we experience it so much that it's been normalized. Hustle culture in general. You're meant to be feeling drained when you're hustling, right? Which is true to some extent, but I don't agree with it fully. But also, we experience burnout at a much younger age than the previous generations. And I want to talk to you about how I, myself, have avoided burnout. Because I think it took me a while to kind of get into the groove of things and figure myself out. But I hope my experience will help you guys. So let's go. It's easy. It is much easy in concept than it is actually done, right? It is difficult. When you're approaching burnout, you're already doing something that you don't want to do. So you're already dissociated from that. You don't want to do this thing, right? It doesn't bring you that sense of life, or else your passion will kind of carry you through it. Or the other issue, which is a lot more easier to kind of sort out because it's far more practical, which is you not finding a safe equilibrium. Your balance is not there. There is zero balance to how you work and then how you treat yourself. You're probably working 24/7. Yeah, you've got passion, but you're burning yourself into the ground. You're running yourself into the ground. Of course, you're going to experience burnout, right? And that's a lot easier because then you dial back, you delegate, hire people if you need to, structure your life, time block, have some bit more discipline with what you do. So you can kind of dedicate some time to yourself. Cool. That's that half of burnout already sorted out. But this is the bit that loads of people forget, and loads of people never forget, they never think about. The part of burnout that occurs following us doing something that we don't want to do, but we're trapped into doing. A good example would be school. You want to get good grades, but you hate the subjects that you're doing. It's very normal. I was there. We've all kind of been there. Or you're probably going through it right now. Listen, it's about the things that you do when you are in control of your time. So they are typically in life. Of course, there's some gray areas, but the way you should look at it is environments that you are in 100% control of, and then other environments. Because, this kind of vision, this lens, will be mostly true. So these other environments, like school, like doing a course, doing an entry level job where you get dogged around, you know, go through it, right? It's all right. You're gonna struggle. You're gonna hate it. Go through it because it is part of your journey. It is part of you trying to get to that next level in life. It is a requirement. Life is not full of things that we want to do. If it was, there would be no happiness because with happiness, you need the equal opposite, which is sadness. Some things will cause us some form of sadness or some form of negative. It is just how life is. Now, when approaching the other side, which is the environment that you do have control of, evaluate. Because the way you avoid burnout is by recovering from the drainage of energy, because this thing is going to drain your energy whether you like it or not. That's a harsh truth. You can never put minimal effort into something because then you're just kind of longing it out for yourself. Imagine you go to school already for about 10 years, you fail, you need to reset. You're extending that stress by an extra 6 months or a year. If you think about it that way, I think it's a bit easier to catch on. You want to go out and maximize your efficiency, enhance your focus as much as possible when you're doing these things. Because that's just going to speed it up for you. It's going to make things a bit more pleasurable because you're going to get results, and the result of it would be more worthwhile because you're going to invest your time in this thing anyways. But also, you will never have to circle that block again. The issue is, outside in your free time, people are trapped and socialized and conditioned to do things that simply do not benefit them. You're not recovering. Most of the time, your leisure activities are not helpful to you. You're doing it because of other people. Every single time you go out with your friends, do you want to go out? And if you do, then you can't really complain about burnout. If you want to do it, maybe you're lying to yourself. Maybe you don't even know that you don't want to do it. In the long term, you might not want to do it, but you haven't thought to yourself enough to figure that out. Maybe instead of sitting and playing video games, maybe you actually don't want to do that. It's kind of draining. You're putting your time and investment into something, into such a, I guess, time bound result, because this thing doesn't really exist anyways. And for what? Is that for yourself? Is that for an illusion? Are you feeding into a fantasy? Because, yeah, that's kind of what games are. It's all fake, right? Or are you doing things that just simply don't benefit you? Like, you're going out to drink. Listen, look, I don't care what you do in your free time. I don't care what you do at all, to be honest. I'm just trying to help you guys who want to be helped. But if you're doing things that you yourself do not want to do, why is burnout such a mystery? You are the cause of your own burnout if you're doing things that you yourself do not want to do. Right? So instead of being the cause of your own burnout, try, mitigate against it. How do you do that? Substitute. It's gonna take time. I'm not encouraging a black and white change, because extremity can only be practiced for such a long time until it breaks, because some things are simply not sustainable, and extremity in most ways aren't sustainable. You can gradually progress towards some type of extremity, like people do with drugs, but a little bit more normal, like people do with, going out and stuff. Some people go out every weekend because they can, every 3-4 days, but they gradually progress towards that. It's not just bang, you're out, because then it's not sustainable. Your bank account's not ready, you're not ready, your social battery's not ready, your family aren't ready, etc. Now I need to introduce a new lens to you, right? The energy lens. Now I'm not talking about crystals and all that shit. No offense if you believe in all that. I don't. But all power to you if you do. I'm talking about just in a more logical sense, because I think we can all agree, this world's made up of energies, right? We exchange energy to one another. I'm exchanging energy to you right now. You're exchanging it back to me with your viewership. Let's talk about energies. The things that you do that are causing your burnout, or you suspect are the roots of your burnout, they are draining energy. They're taking it away. So what is a logical step to help avoid burnout? Adding energy, so then your energy levels don't drop or get empty or go into negative, which is what burnout is. Now we need to evaluate what are those things that kind of add energy. It varies from person to person. You're not going to want to wake up 5 a.m. every day and go for a run. For some people it works, for some people it doesn't. The underlying belly of my overall belief is the way you feel about things are always going to be subjective, right? So my advice will always be a framework, but it won't be, do this. It won't be strict and rigid. Maybe the thought process, maybe, because this is as rigid as this is fair because it applies to everyone. Do something that makes you feel good if you want to feel good. Is that really a debatable thing? I'd like to think it isn't. So the thing that makes you feel good and adds energy to your levels, go ahead and do that. That's going to help you. For me, going to the gym does that for me. For me, talking and chilling with my family does that for me. Going out, just in general, being outside, that helps. And then also writing. I love writing sometimes, not something I do all the time. Little bits here and there. Love writing. My creative element, because I have, my robotic kind of systematic part of me where I'm just doing things and getting things done, but I also like to dabble into my creative side a little bit. This is part of it. It's alright to experiment, because not every single thing's gonna hit. You're not gonna want to run, right? I'm not saying you will love that. I don't love running. I don't mind it, but I don't love it at all. I'm not good at it, and I don't really feel amazing after running. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But what works for you will work for you. I skip sometimes. I can barely skip. I just started the other day. I can barely skip for 10 seconds. But listen, look, it's something that makes me feel better. So does going to the gym. Sometimes listening to some kind of music makes me feel better. It's just how it is, right? There are things that will make you feel better and give you some kind of positive energy back into your life. Religion is a big thing. Try tap into it. It might help you. But what you don't want to do is do things that constantly, like, you're consciously aware that, don't do the things that drain you. Because you're already going to have this non-negotiable. Imagine you have 1,000 energy points. You're losing 500 to 600, right? Because of the thing that you have to do. Whether that's your job, whether that's school, whatever it is. Whether that's your family, Cool. You have 300 to 400 points left. No, four to 500 points left. And you're trying to spend that on TikTok. You're trying to spend that going out, clubbing, drinking, drugs in general, um, socializing when you over socializing, I guess, going out a bit too much, being excessive in your consumption. These are all things that are going to take away from you because they're not done in moderation. But even if they're done in moderation, you still need to add on to the things that will kind of bounce you back up, because these things in moderation, they're like a net neutral. They don't add any energy points. You want to add energy points. So add your energy points. For me, it's going out, writing, research even. Research makes me feel good. You might feel good from just watching this video. This is kind of a form of research. You're researching someone that dabbles into, not really clinical, it's not psychology like that, but I mean, I am talking to you about your brain. Just not in a more scientific way, because I'm not going to be a scientist about this. I think there's other ways to approach life problems, right? But you are kind of conducting research in a way because you're seeing how other people think. And that might be freeing to you. That's why self-improvement is such a big thing, because people love watching that stuff. It makes them feel good. Don't get stuck into the trap of chasing things that feel good, because the things that are good for you will lead to you feeling good. But the things that simply make you feel good because of how you perceive that doesn't mean they are good, because they may make you feel good for about 10 seconds or 10 minutes or 10 days or whatever. I don't know. But doesn't mean it's good in the end. But things that are good in the end, they'll eventually feel good. And they will feel good, and they will be good. They'll contribute to your life. Burnout is something that you need to figure out with yourself. But I think I've laid the framework for you. I'm going to summarize this for you, even though it's unscripted. Number one, assess the thing that is the root cause of your burnout. What's taking these energy points away that are non-negotiable? Some things are non-negotiable in life, and some phases of life. Put up with it. Number two, based on the amount of energy points that you feel like you have left, and don't be giving yourself an easy way and be like, oh, I have no energy points left. You do, because you're spending some right now. See? Caught you there. Those 400 or 500, however many energy points you want to allocate to yourself, be honest with yourself though. There's no point in lying to yourself here. Use those energy points and use them wisely. And this kind of looks into three. Evaluate where your remaining energy points are being spent, because they can be spent on a, positive energy action, or they could be spent on a negative energy action. That's up to you. It's up to you. Number four, change how you interact with these negative energy actions. Because if you change your identity on some level, you will naturally just, move away. If you change your environments, as in where you physically put yourself, or the people that you're with, you can just kind of move away from some of these negative energy actions. So be smart about it. Don't make the work hard. Make it easy for you to do positive energy actions and make it hard for you to do negative energy actions. All of a sudden, burnout doesn't even cross your mind. And of course, if it does, this is number 5. This applies to anyone and everyone. Have a point of reevaluation, because we don't come and see burnout on its way. It creeps up on you and then it hits you. You sometimes, at the end of a week, sit down with yourself and just think for a second, how am I feeling? How's my energy feeling? How's my mental state? A little bit. Like, how's my brain? Am I feeling clear? Am I feeling good? Why am I not? And then mitigate against it and constantly just improve gradually. And you will not burn out. It just won't happen, because you're constantly trying to mitigate against it. If you just do it once and then let it fall off again, you will get caught again. You don't want to. Burnout is horrible. Burnout is like, for me, it was like the seed into depression, because you don't know how to fight against it, and all of a sudden you're slipping down a slippery slope. That's what it is. So yeah, let's be smart about these things. It's not as hard as people make it sound. It is difficult to implement, but once you've implemented it and stay on top of it, it's just like homework in school. You stay on top of it, and it's pretty easy. I hope my advice was helpful to you. You can. I'm not gonna say like and subscribe. You'll do that on your own accord. But what I will say is, please try to take action.